Afi Vodafone Healthline yet Bibi Sunku near Brown. The show takes a new turn. The Muehun in the Iwakolebu Teaching Hospital. We will bring you excerpts from our conversational talks with the specialists and highlights from your favorite segments such as the Mythbuster, Jewels in the Kitchen, and of course, This Week in Medicine. So sit tight, stay tuned as we bring you exciting and informational content on the Vodafone Healthline. Welcome to Vodafone Healthline, spin-off edition.
Data ebony day *700#
BOY boy. Taxi. Ama is going home. Further together.
You can be part of a greater data world of endless possibilities on Vodafone. With the best value and amazing data offers and services in Ghana, you can now dream bigger, explore wider, go further, get more for less with Vodafone data.
We can do anything we put our mind to.
Vodafone. Further together.
A stroke is when the blood supply to a part of your brain is cut off. Me assure that yenya obi a when stroke da. When your stroke ni we bia na ho afa onye adwuma ana wakasa onye yi ana wonsan why you weak. There are many things that are said to cause strokes, and masturbation is one of them. We spoke about it in the Mythbuster. Let's take a look.
Ba. Hey! I didn't cry masturbation. Can't say what dream. Into masturbation, does it cause stroke? Does it cause stroke?
Okay. Frema, thank you for that question. I mean, I think say deep down, Obia him say masturbation does not cause stroke.
No, Obia anymore is roaming around.
That's why it's a myth, isn't it?
No, correct.
But generally, we know that stroke is a different thing altogether and it has its own set of causes.
Okay.
And masturbation is an entirely different thing. When you say masturbation, we're talking about people stimulating themselves with the aim of achieving an arousal and then achieving a climax, sexually.
Okay. From our point of view, masturbation actually can be prescribed by a sex therapist.
Prescribed?
Prescribed.
Hey.
So you prescribe to say someone who has premature ejaculation so that they're able to know what ejaculation feels like and able to find the muscles to sort of control ejaculation and prolong it. Masturbation in itself has merits and demerits. The demerits mainly are spiritual, where most people have been made to guilt based on your religious inclination. People have so much guilt associated with masturbation. But medically, as it stands, I think we would maintain the stance that the merits are more than the demerits.
Exactly. When people engage in masturbation for so long, it becomes difficult to actually engage intimately with your partner. You're so used to doing it all by yourself. Exactly. And it's unfair to yourself and to your partner.
Sexual stroke.
When do you seek help with masturbation? So some people actually have masturbate to the point that they need help. When you do it in public, someone no we pay fee has a studio no masturbate no asamba back. Thank you very much. When it affects your interest, untumi nko school, untumi nye adwuma because a person shed them no masturbate. When it affects your Mrs. Akaye, when it affects your relationship with other people, then it
friend
means
a sexual
need,
stroke. My term.
and then you need help. So masturbation does not cause stroke. Cancer and showing painful 1 year back. Generally, the older you get, the more the likelihood of developing cancer. Unfortunately, there are a few cancers that affect children. We generally group them as pediatric cancers. We had a seasoned specialist, Dr. Salifu, speak to us about pediatric cancers, their early warning signs, and what can be done. Yenkunkete a similar kind, and make sure to take a thing or two so you can be helpful to a child in your community.
Welcome back. Remember, I was asking you questions earlier about what brings on childhood cancers and how can we prevent them? Can we even cure them? Or is it the parents' fault, or is it genetic? Well, we have a very, very beautiful doctor here. She's a pediatric oncologist. Cancer, right? Yes. She's the person of Dr. Salifu. She'll be telling us more about this and help us understand how to detect them early. Welcome, Doctor, to Vodafone Healthline.
Thank you very much.
So you had all my bottled up questions.
I did.
It's really boggling.
Yes.
Because when we are adults, you can say you can blame yourself one way or the other. Not all the time, though, please. I'm not saying every cancer can be blamed on something.
Absolutely.
But people usually will brush it off and say it was probably a lifestyle something. You know, along the line, you overindulged in something. But for a child, I've even heard of babies as well. What brings that on and what's going on here?
Okay. So basically, childhood cancers tend to arise when what we call the cell, which is the very smallest living part of a human being, tends to divide without regulation. So there's no control over how it divides. So you see those cells in various parts of the body dividing very quickly without any control over them. And eventually they would form masses. Now, there are
when
different...
you say masses, no, in Trin,
Exactly.
Okay.
So there are different types of cancers in children.
Okay.
And a cancer can form anywhere from the head to the toe.
But in colon cancer, no, then what brings it on?
So most childhood cancers, we do not know the causes of most of them. There are a few that we know the causes. And there are some viral infections, some germs that can actually lead to the formation of cancers.
Sir?
So yes.
Germs?
Yes. So there are some...
Mwawa.
Yes, exactly. So there are some germs called viruses.
Okay.
And some of those viruses, we know them, like hepatitis B, which is something that can be prevented by vaccination. So it's part of the childhood vaccination program in Ghana and in most countries. So it's one of them. HIV is also known to be associated with some cancers. Okay. Then there's one virus that the name is not very common to us, even though almost everybody would have had some contact with that type of virus before. It's called the Epstein-Barr virus. And that type of virus causes a certain cancer that is very common. In fact, it used to be very common in Ghana many years ago. Yes. And that cancer is called Burkitt's lymphoma. But it's usually a cancer that arises, usually most of the time you see it around the jaw. Okay. So those jaw cancers are usually caused by that virus.
Dr. Salifu, you said it used to be. That means there's been some improvement in statistics?
So what has happened is that more cancers are being diagnosed these days. So in Ghana, childhood cancers, we expect to have between 1,200 to 1,500 new cases in a year. However, we do have a huge deficit in the diagnosis, such that we see only about a quarter of them. between Kolebu Teaching Hospital and Konfano Teaching Hospital. A cancer is very devastating to diagnose and communicate to parents.
Yes.
However,
the
good news is that childhood cancers are different from adult cancers.
Yes.
They may bear the same names. However, the treatment success is very good. As much as possible, we would always want to let people know the difference between the adult cancers and childhood cancers.
So what are those differences and how do we spot it early on?
The huge difference with childhood cancers is that the cure rates are very high.
Okay.
So in a setting where we are able to detect it early and we institute the right treatment and the patient stays on the treatment to the end, more than 90% of cancers can be cured.
Okay. But how do you spot them?
We need to detect them early.
How?
And the detection it's something we would call some early warning signs. And I'm just going to go through that list.
Please.
So when we start from head to toe, one of the common cancers that we have that affects the eye of a child, and in fact, a child can be born on the first day of life and you would see that cancer.
Okay.
It's called retinoblastoma. The early warning sign is that there is some whitish, you see something whitish in the eye. Now, when you look at a person's eye, you see a darker area, you know, within that large black area.
Yeah.
So that we call the pupil. So the pupil would appear to be whitish rather than dark.
Yes.
And that means that the cancer is inside. Now, it can be mistaken for something called a cataract. I have to say this because most children may present with that early and then they end up being told that their parents are told that it's a cataract and then they wait until it becomes a cancer we cannot treat. So apart from that whitish thing in the pupil, for that same cancer, sometimes when a child is looking at an object, one of the eyes is not really focused. It's looking elsewhere. I know that it has a name in the local parlance. I have forgotten what it is.
Does it look at me or?
Exactly. So when you see a child who used not to have that, and suddenly starts having that, you need to report it quickly.
Okay.
Also, sometimes a parent may say that this child's eye, my child's eye look like a cat's eye in darkness. That kind of complaints needs further investigations. Sometimes when these are overlooked, you would see that the eye will start bulging out.
Bulging?
Yes. So it starts coming out of the socket. So that is something that has to be reported quickly. It simply means that the disease is advanced, but we would have to evaluate to be able to tell the extent of the disease.
Okay.
Another sign that has to be looked out for are swellings. Swellings that may happen around the neck, especially around the neck.
What swellings? Does it look like heat rashes and a pompo? And how does it look like?
So it will look typically like what they will say pompo. Meanwhile, it is not a pompo. It just keeps growing big. It doesn't show what they would typically say the mouth that will break open. No, it's just something. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. It just gets bigger and bigger. So when you see those swellings, especially around the neck, around the jaw, sometimes the abdomen will become, big. So people will say the stomach becomes big, so that becomes big. The swellings may also appear on the legs or the arms. When you see these things, I know that traditionally we don't like to send swellings to hospitals because it's said that when you go and they give an injection, the child will die. It is not the case. We are pleading with everyone. When you see a child having this, you need to report to a hospital as early as possible. We could save the child's life. The other thing that, we have to look out for, sometimes there are no swellings. But these things, some of the cancers occur in blood. So with the blood running through our body, a cancer can form inside the blood. So in that manner, you would see that the child will start having temperature.
Okay.
What people will say that the temperature is high
Fever.
or fever. So we are saying that if a child has fever, on and off 2 weeks, and you cannot explain what it is, tests do not point to anything. Please let the child seek care for us to evaluate.
Seek care from who?
So in Ghana, there are 2 centers that can comprehensively treat cancers. That is Kolebu Teaching Hospital and Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Now, there are other hospitals that also take care of children with cancer. Cape Coast Teaching Hospital is there. Tamale Teaching Hospital is there. Holy Family Hospital in Techiman is there. So we have then Agogo Presbyterian Hospital. They are also there. So we have these centers that have also been set up to be able to manage these cancers. And one thing I want to say, when we detect early, childhood cancer can be cured. So early detection is what we need, will save lives. In Ghana, we have usually about 70% of our cases coming to us in the advanced stages. So sometimes you may not hear so much good news about it because they come in the advanced stages. So we are really appealing to parents, to the public, everywhere. We go to every opportunity we get, we try to go and then create the awareness. September is a month for childhood cancer awareness. So every opportunity we would get, we will take to scale up this education. Childhood cancer is not a curse. There's cure for it. The key is early detection.
We are so grateful. You've taught us so much about how we can detect these little things we take for granted and not allow superstition to get the better of us. Thank you for coming on Vodafone Healthline.
Thank you.
To data ebony day *700#.
BOY boy.
Taxi.
Amma is going home. Further together.
Afedie, usu betumi nya kwanya sronko a ye nije ye power Vodafone so. Ye di data bundles a any seso Ghana ha bro. Ye ma da ye so. Ye ni da so nyina bem. Enti baka ye ho nya data mo ani je power bebre.
We can do anything we put our mind to.
Vodafone, further together.
That was indeed educating. Monsieur Nyemapi was Dr. Salifu Okainho. We hope that also see a baby. Up next, we'll take a look at the story of a little girl called Dinah, who had a tumor in the head. Luckily, she had her successful surgery right here in Kolebu.
The view le codia de cada pepu vini epe eta afama me va pobe viaje joho me pele koji ovane atike wono afama ete vide ta me gbobe na wata na wata we wanyu anu we akometun ta me gwa ga domida hohwe be mi ifima ta he mi ya ova pe obe na mi leti eto ne wa pobe atike he wono de ato a fian lo awon de chum metun we ta ova na mi ba de photo pele lambo ya ova na mi mo bi wa operation na de vele hohwe o ye wo pe a o metun yo ta o domida de Kolebu. na me ide gbomia me pe na ela be ne menya va yila ama wanu nye penya agbolo wanu divia penya agbolo esi ayila nye me pona vovo dijomeno na nwunye kunwu divia che no gbolo be tanka ebe ta fuma adu afu wanu no via odom akole bumi vale a over yoga kana mita mele popedo unto tita emi leji wula Vodafone to over hu mi awun pere over pere mi awun ifia ta owo do anewo pe na mi awe wodo me ku he gbe wa ba wodo na le via mi apeji ma preso nya pete pe mi apeji no jojo next de ka kra do vala mi va pe beleke inu ale jojo o gbona mi be o ele nyonyu ake still la mi apeji la mele nyonyu na mi o ka mi va po be o va gbona mi be inu a o wevo ta enyu mi va pe a vivi na mi azo inu a mi pojijo de un la be na de kemegale fima he wo do na le via vo a mi du o se da fe pele nkeke ve le kolebu ape o na mi be mi va pe na mi ga trova tu wisime e fi mi va do a la mense sembli bo vale si ta o pa ku de vio vale ko di nwede na de kemegale wo e la be la tikeji cheta na de kemegale wo
meti be ba da akpena Vodafone to me no pom le TV ji akegbela ni ha me po iklenku yata mi mi ada akpena o Vodafone to akpena ni
The team took a fulfilling trip to the Volta region. Yokoshe there after operation Napom to then. Years after Vodafone Healthline's encounter with Dinah and a successful surgery, we are back at Akafo Odomi to see whether Dinah has been able to play with her friends like all children her age do. How are you? Good. Thank you.
Where's that?
Yo. Odo. Chintin dem ye pese ehwe say Dana no to say no intina in na yabai. Say after operation no no to say if you school ni namfofo et say ma wa hu ne say
acha ne hu ye isi ade ni ye hu ato ye kansa say ere no akọ nti isi otimi di agro omni nkodam nyina mutimi di agro ndanfo na mi ko school we had the school parenting. The teachers from say or ye parenting or per drawing adra de pa na see ade haina semisumano otimi ko ntem na wa bantem timi du mika ina otimi ye bibia
na doctors masemben omuye operation wie no won se first na so bi to bobo no amuye operation wie no ntiase ben na wanya afa yare no
oka se ayare na aye no dompem ho nti ana ma yi no nti se ba review tambia na omuhwe se bibi course wo ana se machine se o metinya a hwe no wo no any this place any her side nti ye corner Among say a course or a meeting, I can say, Yembra 1 month later or 2 months later. And also say, be and courses are my 4 months, 5 months. He said the son also.
Nti eyi kakra on say ye operation ni wi so Vodafone ye call ye hwe na aye ne ade. Na yesu ehu ye ne say dompe nankasa na ewo ne ti no so. Na ese na baby wo hono ma eni bebre nti na ya we no ewo dompe no mu. Bon ha nti sia no mu ye no efi ho. Na omotomado mutumi akata so. Na me sure say then let me see. Come. What's on your neck? Where then? Right. Oh, you operation no the man. And because of a survivor, why are they? I had dinner. On say you need to send us in iron. Say, we only can not send him in for a becatasso. Ocean and Nima, come. Onya problem, bia. The madam, and yet, Yaria, a better called different blessing to me, ye honor. We are good to go. Then when you go, what do you want to be? A nurse. Splendid. So that she can also help children her age who need the help. And sincere dear, you don't say that now here. Yeah, you have Vodafone, so you need say we've been able to help her. And we're hoping that she will be able to grow up. But yeah, they will school. Sincere no class 7, class 1. She's doing well in school. Yeah, mbwano. Yeah, ntetino. You make sure so benni aye penny ewo society musenia epesoye na wa nurse no wetin so to me aboa ankofo doctors no mbekasa munye no mundi so mbekasa munye se amunye na yenhwese bibia befa
amedire madak pe na Vodafone to ale ho premium madak pe na yama ale mi ko premium minami pepere ega mi ko wodo
mi ko medime magbo be ape ko madana mi be afokuva jore vinyeji mi si duva va to mi be mi apere mi awun mi oche me here me gbe ta ape ko madana mi na amebubu to jore ale mi si va to mi de mi oche mi akwa me magbo be eche adoleme ale mi apevi doleme ta maupe jogbenyo ne plomi ne mi awodo sigbe ne jegato ne jefiato ta ape na mi
Vodafone, thank you. Ape baba.
We hope the issue in Yamapi. But before I leave, I'd like to share this. Many a times when diseases befall us or people we care about, we try to allude various reasons as to why the diseases may have occurred. This usually doesn't help and only delays the solution. My advice? If you or anyone you care about is ill, be quick to visit the hospital so that the doctors and experts available will help you reach a solution in time. Till we meet again next week, stay healthy.